Anderson School District 5, we have a little over 13,000 students, around 1,800 full-time employees. We have 23 school sites. That includes adult ed. We are the largest of the 5 school districts in Anderson in enrollment, but we are the smallest geographically, primarily because we have the city of Anderson. We have 23 school sites, 11 elementary schools, 2 high schools, 4 middle schools, McCants, Glenview, Southwood, Robert Anderson, and this year we're closing Lakeside, which has been a middle school for us for a number of years. And on that site will be the new Anderson Institute of Technology will be constructed on that site.
You got a new school year that'll be here like sooner than anybody thinks. What are some of the major events, challenges, things coming up in Anderson County School District 5 for the 2017-2018 school year?
Well, one of the things that we've done over the last few years, we've obviously enhanced a lot of our facilities through the sales tax. We've put a lot of money into both high schools, which rightly so, they needed it. And serve a lot of kids. We're very proud of that. We're building a new career center. We're demolishing Lakeside. We're selling about 19 acres, up to 18 or 19 acres of frontage on McCants property. We have a contract now, and they're in the due diligence period now, but we hope that will go through.
Does that include the bowl there? Will somebody fill that in?
Yeah, the bowl will be gone.
Okay.
And so we're excited about that. Number one, we will take the proceeds off of that and put into the McCants building, enhance it. It's got a new roof on it. We just put a $900,000 roof on it. Do some work with HVAC, floor covering, some safety concerns, because we'll continue to have 2 middle schools in the Hannah cluster.
Well, I was going to say that was Hannah when you and I went there.
Exactly.
And are they going to expand it at all? Is it big enough?
Yeah, it's big enough.
Okay, it's just going to
stay about the same size. Yeah. And but a large focus for us next year moving forward is what we're doing at the elementary schools. We've moved a lot of principals around. Some very veteran principals are going to some of our most challenging elementary schools.
We talked about technology a little bit. How are y'all going to continue to use technology and maybe online classes, more technology in the classroom? What are the plans for that? Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. As you know, we're one-to-one technology from 5th grade, Chromebooks. We also have classroom sets at some of the elementary schools. We're looking at expanding that because all the assessment now is online, so you need devices so it doesn't take you a month to test everybody. We're far better than the majority of the districts in the state. In fact, we were able to test last year online when you had the option of paper, pencil, or online. We chose to go ahead and do online, which was good for our kids because this year, it was a kind of old hat. The thing with technology, where schools have made the mistake is they believe, well, we buy these devices and we give them to teachers and that's it. Well, that's only a third of it. You've got to provide resources to teach teachers how to use them, provide professional development, and then you've got to have break-fix people because, as you know, in your business, they break and they don't work or they don't boot or whatever. So we're able this year, where all our schools will have professional development people, digital integrational specialist, which is a fancy name for technology professional development folks that will work with teachers. And then our elementary schools will have one per each cluster to work with them because there's less technology just number-wise. And then also we've added break-fix people at our high schools, at our middle schools, and then at the elementary schools where they'll work in a cluster to keep things running. Because I can tell you, you can give a classroom teacher all this technology, but if it doesn't work, they're going to resort to what they know does work. And it may be, all right, get out your pencil and paper and let's take notes. So where schools have made mistakes before is they've done a third of it, but they haven't followed through with the other 2/3. So we hope that we're going to improve that. Our downtime will be less, but it's expensive. Technology takes a lot of people, a lot of support, and but we're proud we're able to get it in our budget and move forward with it. So this year's budget purely is all instructional based to improve instruction, and technically every year is, but there's some years you may have other things you're buying, you're trying to do or whatever, but we're really focusing on elementary instruction and support, and and obviously the technology support at all the schools.
You mentioned resource officers. How important is the safety factor? Because everybody's always talking about that, and you've got some older schools here that are a bit harder to secure. What are y'all doing this year for that?
Well, we've got we've got secure entry at most of our schools, or the vast majority. West Side is one of those schools that's hard to secure. McCants is, because of the buildings it was built. Lakeside was, of course, that's going to be demolished. We just try to do due diligence, kind of see something, say something. The SROs and the hired security. The cars are a deterrent. We try to have signage. You try to just be as proactive as you can. Unfortunately, we live in a society that if a person is determined to do an irrational act, it's very difficult sometimes to stop it. And we've seen it recently, as you know, in London and now in Paris yesterday. It's just, but our teachers are aware of it. We practice drills, we practice lockdowns. We have radios to communicate in emergencies. We have a good relationship with the sheriff's department and the police department. And, the main thing is try to do everything in your power to make a school as safe as you can. Schools, they weren't built to be prisons. And, we could build a 20-foot fence with razor wire around them, and they still wouldn't. You couldn't guarantee, just like you can't guarantee a prison is safe. But, and I don't, and hopefully we never get to that point. But there's some schools around the country that are almost like that. And but again, we're one of the best things I think about Anderson, that we're a public school community. We have some private schools, some religious privates, which is great. We have homeschool. That's certainly a parent's choice. But the vast majority, just like nationwide, the vast majority of children are in public schools. And I think there's a vested interest from our community. We've had people will call, they'll see something, and we like that. And we follow up on every lead. But again, it's a lot of it's just like you'll see at the airports. You see something, you say something. And the majority of times we've been able to find weapons on campus, drugs, is when a student trusts an adult enough to go to them. And it's been that way since I was a high school principal. We used to do drug searches and this and that. The only time I ever found things was when students went and said, "Mr. Wilson, you need to check John Doe out." And all that is about relationships and about trust. And that's why you'll see it a lot where they'll go to a coach or a counselor or a teacher or someone they're really close to, a band director, people they spend a lot of time with, and we follow up.
Last time we met, we were still talking about the penny sales tax. You want to remind people of what all that was able to accomplish because of the penny?
Yeah, it's if I can remember all we've done. It's just countywide. It's generating somewhere around 1.8 to $2 million a month for Anderson County. And bear in mind that 30% estimated 30% of that money comes from people who don't live here. So really, all these people that are driving through are helping pay for all this stuff. The money's prorated out based on enrollment of the districts. Anderson 5 gets 40% of the money because we have 40% of the kids. What we've been able to do is all the technology support, the one-to-one technology. We've bought 5 new activity buses. We've bought, we put a roof on West Side, a roof on Hannah, a roof on McCants. We're completing a 28 classroom addition at Robert Anderson. We're demolishing Lakeside. We're paying 70% of the construction for the new career center because we'll have 70% of the kids there. We built new field houses at Hannah and West Side. We put artificial turf in the stadiums. We rebuilt the tracks, scoreboards, renovated and air conditioned the press boxes. Did some enhancement on athletic fields. We built 2 new band storage buildings. We got rid of all those containers in front of Hannah that was such an eyesore. All that's gone. We reconfigured that practice field. We bought new trucks, big, 20-foot U-Haul trucks for Hannah and Westside for band. We bought some additional golf carts and things like that for operational and security at both schools. We renovated the Westside cafeteria. We're also renovating. We've done some renovations at Hannah. We're going to finish it this summer. We're painting this summer. One of the things that District 5 has not done, and it was probably because of money, we want to come up with a scheduled preventative maintenance program. Like, for example, every summer we should paint 1 to 2 schools. And this summer we're painting McLeese, the inside of McLeese, and also Midway. And we're redoing the parking lots at both those schools. They've been there a good while. They have cracks. You can't see the lines. They fade. So they're going to repave everything, paint the whole insides of both those schools. We're painting the exterior of Nevitt Forest. So we hope to appropriate $250,000 a year for those kind of jobs. Painting, redoing parking lots, just general upkeep, fencing. We're replacing a lot of fencing we did a lot last year, but some more at West Side, the old rusted galvanized stuff. It's just an eyesore. It's bent. It just looks bad because, number one, it protects your investment. It's just like your home. And, it's like John Kennedy said, the best time to fix your roof is when it's not raining. And so that's what we want to do, is fix these things before we have to. We're real big on how schools look, grass cutting, buildings and ground knows I'm passionate about how these yards look, because the majority of people in the community, it's been estimated that 70% of people in the community have not been on a school campus in the last year. We think everybody does, but a lot of people just ride by. They hadn't been on a campus in 10 years, but when they ride by, they see it, and we want to send a message that this is a professional, that it's first class. We take pride in these projects. We take pride in these schools and maintaining them, so they look pleasing to the community. So when people want to move here and they ride around, they go, wow, look how they're taking care of their schools. They must care about their kids. So
we've covered a lot of ground. Is there anything else that parents that have kids in District 5 or just citizens are going to notice about this coming year, or things you want to let them know about the coming school year?
Well, what we've tried to do, we've hired she interned with us a young lady that's going to do all our social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff that my generation perhaps doesn't get their news from there. But we find that more parents will go on our Facebook page, especially millennials. That's how they get it. And so we're really trying to stay ahead of that game. She does a great job of especially on snow day. They're waiting to get a tweet whether school's going to be canceled or not. We do a lot with athletics with it, on updates of scores and games. We're trying to do more live feed. We did it on graduation, and we put it on our website. People can watch it. We're trying to be more communicative that way. And I think parents just need to understand that as a parent, I would encourage you, number one, for your child's principal to know you and for your child's counselor to know you, particularly when they get up in the higher grades. And not that you got to be up there, but just where they know you, they know who your child is, and have that relationship. So you'll feel comfortable going in. A lot of parents, unfortunately, visiting a school is not a good experience for them. Maybe the child's had problems, but we want to build those relationships and know that the door's open. Our goal is to make every decision that's in the best interest of a child, not an adult. But unfortunately, if you say yes to somebody, sometimes it requires you to say no to somebody else. And some people equate no with I don't like you, and that's not the case. I mean, we're trying to do the best we can for kids. We're here to make decisions on their best interest, not adults, and we try to do that. But we're also aware that, and I tell principals that, you got to understand every parent loves their child as much as you love yours. And we need to realize that when a parent is maybe upset with a school, it's they're doing just what any parent wants to do is fight for their child, and if they believe their child's been wrong. So we work to improve that, and but we're very fortunate to have a lot of supportive parents, booster clubs, PTAs, that contribute a lot of money, a lot of work, a lot of time. And we hope they'll continue to do that.
So if people want to find out more information, is social media now the way to go, or just your website, or what should
Well, we have a lot on the website. I get emails from parents. Everything's accessible now. We have a director of external affairs, that Kyle Newton. He gets a lot of requests, primarily through the media, or we'll get parents. I mean, I get students that email me questions, which some people say, I can't. Well, to me, that's kind of cool that they feel comfortable enough. Number one, they know who the superintendent is. And now I do get blamed for a lot of stuff. I was in a local grocery store. This is a true story. The guy that works there, he goes to West Side. He just graduated, and I've met him over the last year or so. And he wanted to know why they had to ride the bus to graduation practice in Greenville. And I was like, I don't know. He goes, well, everybody said it was your decision. And I said, I had nothing to do with it. So I even got blamed for, making kids ride a school bus. But it's kind of neat that a lot of kids will email me, ask me a question, and a lot of times I may refer them to the principal. But I think it's kind of cool in a district of 13,000 that students do see you as accessible. I think that's kind of neat.